Alright, here we are on another playthrough here. Unfortunately, I didn't get going to Sanctuary or the quick startup. I was actually busy testing other things. So I didn't really get to record those individual steps. And there's some comments that I really wanted to make about the opening sequence. And just to kind of give a quick, like, not really a summary, but a little quick insight as to what I was thinking. I understand what the writers were doing. As an example, when you're talking to Codsworth, you have options that says, like, what happened to the world? Where is Concord? So I think the problem happened. A lot of you hear a lot of opinion about where the writers dumb things down, but this is what I see. The story is there. There is a story there. The problem is the story tried to encompass, in my opinion, both a person who is completely unfamiliar with Fallout to those that have followed the franchise from the beginning, or even from Fallout 3 forward. And when you do that, you have two different types of people. You have the person who loves the environmental storytelling, loves the apocalyptic nature of things, loves, being able to see a history of a history of a world in silence, which means there's more introspective thoughts as opposed to somebody literally giving you context for what's happening. That, I think, those players are the ones I think that really complain the most about the way they did the story. Because when you look at it, and you look at it when you play it, and you actually look at it through the lens of, I've never played this game before, I don't know what it is, then you can see the feathering that is happening in the story. So the story is simplified, and that was the problem. I think they tried to have a very complex storytelling, environmental storytelling, but then they had oversimplification of the the text, the actual scripting of it. And a quick example of that before I actually get into the gameplay, when Nora, well, I'm playing a female character. I don't really relate to the character. It's just they're just, to me, it's just more fun to look at. It's like I can look. I like when hair looks nice. And yeah. So, anyways, with Nora, she literally says, "What happened to the world?" Well, for the person who likes Fallout for what it is, well, you know what happened to the world. You were there when a nuclear bomb exploded. So obviously there's going to be repercussions from that. You've seen a shockwave that literally comes almost at the speed of sound coming through the air. So you know what happened. So to literally ask doesn't make a lot of sense. However, if you approach this as somebody who's never played the game, like ever, they're like, obviously the player knows what happened. Nora and Nate should both know what happened. But for some reason that's put there to try to add context, to give almost a history of, okay, war, war never changes. All right, what happened to the world? Obviously, they may be asking a question as to, was this war? So I don't think that the story was written in a way, I think it was too simplified to feather in that person who doesn't know anything. Alright, so that's what I think that is. Alright, so let me skip into gameplay here, and I'm going to show you exactly what I do for each settlement, because I know I posted some warnings I had encountered with Workshop Framework. And I think, though, I don't think those really matter. But I just thought it was interesting where it talked about safe delete, because one of the things I didn't mention is when I did raise, I actually did go in. What I meant by deleting things with the workshop, not that I didn't delete them by hand, but that I didn't use something like a workshop framework script to destroy objects. Raise destroyed the objects. I went in and cleaned up some bushes, things like that. And then I used transfer settlements. So here we are in Sunshine Tidings. And I haven't killed all the ghouls yet, so let's go see if we can hunt them down. I usually go this way, and we're going to do this sequentially, one right after another. I don't have West Tech goggles yet, so you're definitely not going to be able to see any hidden stuff, you know, or it's not going to be able to highlight any of the creatures I have to kill. So I do have some extra ghoul spawns that do show up. I don't know if they're going to show up here. So let's just go ahead and get this cleared out real quick, because everything can get stuffed in the workbench. I'll take that. Wait, is that more health stuff? Because I'll definitely want that just in case. Yeah, when you... Now, this is the thing about companions I wanted to talk about. I get what they tried to do. If you stop and look at this for a moment, they're trying to make the companion look like your best friend. Meaning that it's going to guard you, it's going to stand in between you and the enemy. I get this. It's just the implementation is slow. The actual changing of the AI is incredibly slow, because instead of being able to immediately change AI, it has to go through a little pause period. It has to play out the animation. So when you're trying to get through a door, obviously, you know, he's trying to follow me. So he's trying to follow me through the door, which makes sense. But I need to immediately get back out this way. Now, he's trying to look like he is my companion. The way I think they coded this is he's trying to look intelligent, not like he's just oh, this ain't gonna work. A random kind of follower.
Critical damage available.
This random follower. But the anticipation of it is breaking. To me, it's breaking it. That's what's causing it to break. Because see, he's trying to stay ahead of me to look intelligent. And I have no way to disable that. I have to say, look, I don't want you to see how he's trying to go through the door at the same time as me instead of waiting for me to go through. Now, I don't think that requires being able to check for doors. I think as an AI is concerned, I don't think you need to be able to check to see if there's a door there. But I think that it needs to allow me to get a certain lead on him. I think it needs a certain lead. Like this example. There, that's a good example. See, so he's trying to catch up to me, right? So he'll try to catch up to me. And there it caught it, because, you know, he was way over here in the field. I've now reversed direction. I'm heading his way. Don't run straight into me. Once you realize I'm heading your way, and, you know, once you realize I'm heading your way and I'm within a certain distance of you, don't continue running towards me, because that means I've reversed direction. So I think the problem with the companions following is they didn't flesh it out enough. They're just like, oh yeah, you know, we can make companions follow because we have something called is following. So we're just going to literally say, hey, is such and such following me? Yes, they are. Yes, they are following me, and that's all I need. I'll just use that. I'll use that little function. But they didn't provide a way. They did not provide functionus interruptus. So they did not find a way to interrupt the function when it was happening, and therefore it makes the AI look intelligent. That is what I see. Okay, these doors are going to be from Rebuild. I'm going to show that. So I hope this video isn't going to like really be super long, but I wanted to show this process. Of course, this is at nighttime. So, and I haven't changed, you know, a lot of times I will change the, oh, that doesn't work. Yeah, back. Oh, I gotta reload. Yeah. Let's see. All right, there you go. All right, so I wanted to show the whole process that I use when, like this is an example here. See this? I've already reversed direction. I reversed direction from back here, but he still wants to be in front of me. Instead of saying, all right, yeah, he's reversing direction. He's actually reversing direction. I have a companion. The companion said, you know, the companion AI goes, all right, the person I'm following is reversing directions. He's heading right towards me. He's within a certain distance. I need to get out of the way. Doesn't do that. Instead, he's still trying to follow me. It's like the actual follow loop stopped. So that is what I think. That is what I think the problem is. See here, like in this example, he should have, like, an example would be is I'm facing this direction. So what he should do is he should come in, and because he stopped within a certain distance of me. And again, this kind of makes sense because, a dog might want to be just around a person. But there is a way to work it so that the AI, the actual NPC AI says, I'm here, I'm facing this way. So why don't you come into the building? Stand by me. Stand beside me. Which means the direction I'm facing is always going to be clear. What would have been nice if there was options for that, just simple edit checks, to where you literally could go in and say, you can literally go in and say, hey, this is the behavior I want. I'm going to flag this type of behavior. I want you to stand beside me. And that way the player would have a choice of whether they wanted the companion to stand beside them or stand guard or keep a distance. And I think that's why Obsidian included those in in Fallout New Vegas, because they noticed that was a problem, and the fastest and easiest way to fix it was to change some of the variables, dynamically change the variables. That makes sense to me. Okay, so here I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this. So that way, maybe if there's a problem with this process or something, I just wanted to make it to kind of document it. Okay, so we've cleared everything out of the workshop. Again, if you take a look, I'm not going to clear that just yet. So we cleared everything out of the workshop. If we take a look at workshop data, I've got Red Rocket, Sanctuary, Starlight, and now I have Sunshine Tidings. And again, if you notice when I get it, everything is the beds. I first acquired the workshop. Obviously, well, not obviously, but the beds are 18. See, that nothing matches that. So when I first activated the workshop, when I very first activated it, somehow, and I can double check, but I'm pretty sure that I'm using not static variables, but persistent variables for the workshop. For some reason, it's showing the bed count for food, water, and power. Now, I haven't done this without Workshop Framework yet. So I'm thinking this might be Workshop Framework doing this, where it doesn't have any food, water, power. Those values are 0, so it's taking whatever non-zero value exists, and at that point, it's the beds. Now, that's just a guess. So if somebody who doesn't have Workshop Framework has that, then that's completely vanilla. And that's a vanilla issue. Okay, so I've acquired the workshop, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and we're going to raise this to the ground. So let's go into miscellaneous, raise my settlement. Alright, and let's raise this. Unfortunately, what's going to make this video a little bit longer is I don't really edit these things, so I'm not going to go in and strip down when it's working on it. I'm just going to kind of let it do its thing. And looking at it, it's got about 1,000 objects, so it's making a pretty good it's making a pretty good click. And then when this is done, then I'm going to go in manually and I'm going to remove bushes and shrubs and things like this cooking station, anything that Raise didn't remove, that's what I'm going to remove. When I created the transfer settlements, and I'm not really comparing the two, but I'm just using this for right now because trying to troubleshoot everything at once, it's way too much. There's too many variables. And you can have something so simple that it could be like one condition in a script, or something is not being accounted for, or something is being accounted for incorrectly. One single condition. And when you build an entire foundation on it, then the problems are masked across that entire structure. Okay, if that makes sense. So, all right, so there's that. Now I'm going to show you what I do next before I do transfer settlements. And hope to goodness we don't. If we get an attack, because it's nighttime, and if I get the nighttime ghouls attacking, I'm going to you're going to see me kick into the console, and I'm going to do a KAH. All right, so I don't want this because it's going to put it back. So we're going to remove that. That's going to stay. I'm going to let that stay. Alright, let's go over here. We're going to remove that. I don't think there's anything in here I need to remove. Bodies are fine. That's good. I'm going to remove the beds. So we're going to store the bed because it's going to put the beds back in here when I use the transfer part. All right, we're going to get rid of that. That may not even be there. We'll see. Let's just wait and limit what we can do. All right, let's get rid of that. All right, well, I'll get rid of this anyways. Hopefully that won't cause a problem. And then, oh, and let's do one other thing. So this is what I also do. So we're going to do a TG. We're going to toggle the grass. This is going to be able to let me see, but I'm not going to remove any of those objects until after. I'm not going to remove those until after I've rebuilt. I've used rebuild. Don't want that. They can stay there. Let's make sure we hit everything. I want to make sure beds are down to 0. Because those objects are going to get put back in. Let's go in here. If there's nothing there. So we're going to remove these first. And then we will go in. We could do it probably at the same time. But I just want to kind of do this step by step. To make sure that if for some reason it's something I'm doing. Or if somewhere between the mods of rebuild or raise, which like I said, I don't think raise is the problem, but in the process of using raise, rebuild, and then workshop framework, something's happening. Okay, so this is from rebuild all-in-one. So I've got this set, so I've got workshop framework set, so it does not require any resources. So I literally can build this as I go. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to make 3 passes. All right, we're going to go over to here. Let's make that pass. Okay, let's go over to here, make this pass, let's get that cabin built, and we need to get this cabin built. Alright, we got that cabin built. Let's get this one. Where's that door? I know it's here somewhere. There it is. Get that cabin built. Get that cabin built. Let's get the barn built. And let's get that built. And I think this one, let's get that built. And I think that's it. I think that's about all I have. And of course, you can instantly see where you've got pre-combined stuff. With trees, where the trees were removed by the pre-combine, but during being in a workshop, you see the trees flicker on and off. I believe that clicking, selecting these rebuild all-in-one got rid of the trees, which activated the pre-combine, but for some reason the trees will still show up. And I do see that every now and then. It does crop up every now and then. Alright, so I don't really think I want that. We definitely don't want that. We're going to scrap that. Let's go ahead and scrap all of this. I'm going to go ahead and scrap all of that. I'm going to leave that there. Okay, so now let's get all the bushes. So normally, for me, at least for me when I'm doing this, I can't really scrap these bushes and shrubs. Some of them I can't scrap until I've actually done this rebuild. Until I actually went through and I did the rebuild, which either when you rebuild the settlement, he makes the items scrappable, or it's taken from, using a pre-combine, it's taken from a combined mesh. I don't think that's the case, because bushes and stuff generally, like shrubs and clutter, things like that. I mean, well, some clutter is, but bushes generally aren't considered part of a static collection. It could be. Usually trees are, but I've never really seen like just bushes. This is more like just things you can scrap. So it gives the player the item. And to me, the designers are trying to give the player an idea of literally cleaning up the ground. You're literally cleaning up the ground. Now, I'm guessing. Now, here's just a guess. I'm thinking that the reason Bethesda didn't use a script to clean this stuff up, because if you think about it, when you have settlers here, settlers should normally clean up the place that they live. That would make the most sense. So I'm wondering if the reason Bethesda didn't do this is because somehow it causes a problem with the game engine. That they wanted you to scrap objects with the... Oh, he's dead. You scrap the objects with the workshop, going in and manually scrapping the objects, because that's how the system was designed. And I'm almost willing to bet they tried it. They probably gave it a try, and it just simply didn't work. Because I noticed that a lot of times I had issues with scrap, with the robots that would scrap things, not just in a settlement, but around a settlement. I would get those loose file streams. They would pop up. And I had to kind of tweak the settings. I wanted the robot to do it automatically. I had it set up at first to do it automatically, which makes sense. I mean, it did exactly that. It would just kind of do it on its own. But somehow when I was coming back into the settlement, it gave me a loose file stream. It would probably be a lot easier if I could see this stuff. I wouldn't have to run around so much. Let me... how in the world can I even see this? There it is. Alright. Okay, so I think we're just about to where we can get this settlement in here. You can kind of see what it does. So, I've raised it to the ground. I've cleaned up what I've raised it to the ground. I did the rebuild all in one. And I've went through and I've cleaned up a lot of the area. Bushes may appear again. I'm not sure. The engine may cause bushes to appear again. Later on, kind of gives you things to scrap, because I noticed leaf piles would reappear, and I noticed that rebuild all in one did delete some leaf. I did delete the leaf piles in here. It wouldn't. It would not delete the beds. What's kind of nice about it is if you already built something in there, it won't eliminate that. But it looks like it actually eliminated the leaf piles, and I don't know if I did delete a few leaf piles first. Couldn't tell you if that caused the problem or not. That would be for that mod author. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is, should have did this before I kicked out. We're going to go back into workshop mode. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to drop, just so you can see what I'm doing, I'm going to drop a terminal for, let's just put this here, for transfer settlements. Now, I haven't tested saving and loading inside of a cell, like inside a Concord, because I'm usually kind of treating it as though it's going to crash, where for some reason the spell perk distributor decides to go south end. I don't know what the deal is with that. Alright, so here we go. Alright, give me a second. I'm gonna do TGM because I'm gonna get swarmed with ghouls here. And that's normal. That's exactly what I want it to do. Normally if I was doing this, I would deal with the ghouls and then we'd come back and do this. Okay, so Sunshine Tidings. So let's go ahead and pick Sunshine Tidings. Yep. And I do have Fall Souls in here. So we want it. Oh no, I don't want to export. I want to import. Let's go back. Import a settlement. Because here they come. See them coming? Yeah. Alright, so now let's do a KAH. Let's get those guys out of here. Oh look, it actually kicked me out. I'm still in this thing. Maybe I can kick out of it. There we go. Oh, that was funny. Alright, so. Yeah, I love the fact the ghouls attack me, but that's not what I want to do right now. So we're just going to KAH and... Okay, so let's import a settlement here. And at the beginning of the game, it makes it much more difficult. It's a lot more difficult. Alright, let's do Sunshine Tidings here. Alright, we got this. Alright, so let's go ahead and import. Here we go. Now, I'm not going to... oh, I've done something a little bit different this time than I did the first time. When it actually puts the beacon up there, I'm going to deactivate it. I'm going to go up wherever it puts it. I'm going to go deactivate it before it even has a chance to finish. I'm going to turn it off in a sense. Alright. So now let's give this thing a chance to build. It's going to take a few minutes. And I kind of hate tying up the video like this with just things like this, where it just rebuilds, but that way you can kind of see the process. Probably could run around and grab whatever ghouls. I only see 3. Alright. It'll go much faster if I do this. Well, I do this. Well, I guess it doesn't on import. On export, it definitely moves faster when I go into the main menu, the pause menu. Now, let's see. I do want to get back in this stuff. Now, I'm not going to scrap anything. I'm not going to remove anything. Whatever scrapping I did previously. Let's see. Where's my tower? I think my radio beacon tower. It's not that. Not that. We're almost there. Like I say, I don't really edit these videos. I do have video editing software. I've just not used it. I'll probably get to where I'll use it more, so I can skip ahead to like the meat of the meat of what I'm trying to show, or kind of explain. All right, so why it's doing this? But yeah, that's what I noticed with the story. That's why I think the story really. I think that's where people had a problem with the story, is because they oversimplified it for somebody who knows absolutely nothing about what is going on. That is what I think happened. That's what I think they did. Because I can see that. I actually was talking to Codsworth at the beginning. I thought, okay, I'm going to just put myself in a state of mind where I don't know anything about anything. And the story makes sense. You know, what's going on? Where am I? 200 years? Couldn't be. But there wasn't enough options in there. I don't think there was enough dynamics. So they came up with okay, so let's just say they have Radiant AI. Okay, cool. It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. Endless quests. Technically, that's what it is. But they're all the same type of quest. You could use the creation kit to add different types of radiant quests. So it's not really, to me, that's not really a lie. It's just not an entire truth. It's one truth that is applied to a global concept where all of that, using normal, what we would consider normal gameplay, or what we would expect from normal gameplay. Give me a sec. My throat's drying. What we would expect from normal gameplay doesn't exist. You know, we would expect a little bit of quote common sense. Okay, so let me find this tower. Where the heck is it? Here we go. Tower's right here. So what I need to do is I need to go in here and turn this off before we get to this part. Oh, no. No. Okay, so let me get out of here. You know what we're going to do? We're going to do this. Alright, let's do this. Let's get out of here. And let's get up here and see if we can turn this off. Because I want that off. So as soon, I turn this thing off, so as soon as power comes to it, there's going to be no settlers show up. There's going to be nothing is going to show up. Go in here. Is this place safe? I think this place is fairly safe. Yeah, this place is fairly safe. Okay. Actually, I thought I had a bed over here. I'm not sure what would have happened with that. Maybe I did not. Alright, so I am actually not going to scrap, move, or add anything. I know what I did. Okay, so yeah, let me grab this clean blue suit as a collection. Okay, so I didn't want to confuse everybody. What I did was I had too many beds in this area. So I wanted to kind of thin it down. That was the idea behind it. So now it's powering up. So let's get the settlement fully powered, and then we're going to save it, and then we'll go back out and check to see if we have any warnings or anything pop up. Okay, so everything powered up, and the last thing we got to do is toggle the grass back on, and we're good to go. So that is how I did a settlement. That's the steps I use. Now let's save this. Let's go back. I figured out what this is, by the way. That's the most silliest thing I've ever seen. When I'm in a menu, if I hit save, technically I should be going over to this. Technically, this is now the submenu I'm in, but instead, I can still select this. So if for some reason I hit photo mode, I get photo mode, right? That's, to me, that's once a submenu comes up, the main menu should not be accessible. This should stay locked on whatever this option is until I go back out, until I go out of the submenu back into the main menu. Okay, so now we saved it. Let's go over to here. Let's kick back to the desktop and let's see if we have, and I do have, but I think this should be the, just to double check, let me refresh this. Okay. Yeah, this was the one I just did. The one on the bottom is the new one. However, it looks like this one still has some workshop in it. Let's see. Let's see what we got. Okay, you see where it says, I'm looking at this stuff, Sim Settlements, Stage, Missing Building Plan. Building Plan. I'm assuming that's normal for the workshop. I'll go ahead and post this as well. I'm assuming that's normal for the workshop. I'm not really sure. But let me filter out. Let me filter out nothing but SS2 stuff. And again, I'll post both of them. So, yeah, see where it says scrap object? I don't know why this is kicking off. Because technically, you know what this, yeah, technically I don't know what this is. Like, I'm not really sure what it's trying to scrap. So, the only thing I can figure is either when I manually did it, and I didn't actually check to manually delete, like let's say 3, and then see if this pops up. See if only 3 instances pop up. So, because each one is it's a cycle. So it looks like it's that. Looks like it's this and this. So it looks like there's two entries probably per item. So there's quite a few items. So I'm not sure what it's trying to scrap when I walked into the... I wouldn't think Workshop Framework would scrap anything unless for some reason something is firing off to where it's trying to clear out a building plan. You know, like kind of like a quote safe check. Okay, I'm coming into a settlement. Let's make sure that everything is cleared out. That's the only thing I could see that like as a... I could see that from maybe an SS2 point of view, where it's like, okay, this is a brand new settlement. Let's take a look at whatever building plan, if there's, and then use whatever building plan to try to clean it up. But technically, that shouldn't happen. That should not be happening. And the only thing I didn't check, no, I didn't. I was sitting there trying to think. I did not. We can save this again to see if anything pops up. I did not use any type, you saw I didn't use any type of any Workshop Framework, you know, function management script or tool. All I did was get, you know, you could see when you go into the workshop that the script was attached to the actual workshop itself, but I didn't select increase the size of it. I didn't do anything like that. And let's go to the bottom of this. Yeah, see, if you look down here, this is our new save. So there's nothing here, which is what I would expect. So Workshop Framework, you know, has no entry. So I'm assuming these up here, let me Z this out. I'm assuming these up here, I'm assuming that one, and this one all happened at the beginning. It actually happened at when I first, what I mean by at the beginning, when I first went into the workshop. Well, when I first either went into the workshop or when I first came in to a workshop area. And I'm going to assume first went into the workshop. You won't see any of these for Sanctuary or for the others because I'm pulling the papyrus logs, and the papyrus logs are rolling out. So it renames the papyrus logs sequentially as it rolls them out. So the oldest automatically gets deleted and replaced with the next one. I think I have like 3 papyrus logs. Maybe if I increase that to more, I'll have them, but those things can get pretty big. I could do that, I think. I don't think the entries are that... I don't think they're going to be that big where I couldn't make it, let's say, 5. So I can't tell you if Sanctuary Red Rocket had the problem. I can't really say that for sure. The only way I could do that is I could look at the timestamp up here, and then I could go back and compare the first time when I actually played the game. It might be, I mean, I could go in and put some code in there to literally say this is the 10th time that I've played, so that way it would be more easy to see, but I don't think that's necessary. So I mean, I could do it. I might do it just for the fun of it, but other than that, yeah, I won't be able to show you. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show you to see if it happened during Sanctuary or during Red Rocket. Nothing was added. I've added nothing new to this. I'm pretty sure I didn't update anything, and we're going to check that. Because I'm pretty sure I did not, because I didn't want to update anything mid-process. So that's everything installed and all that good stuff. Yeah, so this is my first time I ever played this load order. This is the last time that I played. The current one won't show up until I quit the game. So all of this was in the load order. As you can see, there's no plugins removed, added, and there's nothing updated. So it's not that. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of show that so you can kind of see the process, see some new errors that I'm getting. Well, they're warnings, not necessarily errors. And I can say that when Previz actually gets updated, and let's say that I'm playing the game and I update Previz data, I can say for sure that I will start getting an FPS hit. Now what I'm going to do is, there's nobody here, and I'm going to let these sit for a little bit before I actually go in, and I'm going to let these sit for a little bit before, oh, now that's, see, this is, I don't really get this. These, as far as powering up goes, lamps do not auto power for some reason. Everything powers up except those objects that use radiant energy, like lamps. Everything else, I'm pretty sure, has power. So I'm not sure why radiant is a difference. You know, when I don't know why radiant is different, other than the fact, see, this uses radiant power. These lights up here have power that uses radiant power, but the lamp does not. These things here use radiant, but the lamp does not. For some reason, it's not considering that lamp. Now that may be that may have something to do with the way that objects are powering up. Maybe transfer settlement scripts or something is not taking that into consideration, because I can't think of why it would be different, why those are excluded from, and ceiling fans will have the same type of issue. A ceiling fan will have the same, yeah, see, that one's, okay. A ceiling fan will have the exact same type of issue, where it will be working. When you first put it in, it does work. But then you come back later and the fans are not turning, like there is no power. And then, you know, you can do what I'm doing here, which is activate and deactivate, and that does not fix the problem. You have to literally scrap the fan. You have to scrap the fan, and then you have to put another fan there in order for that to work. And I am completely unsure as to why that is. And lamps are, like I say, lamps are the only thing that does that. That is the only thing I've seen that does that. And you know, as you've seen, it's every single lamp. And if there's no ceiling fans in here, because I notice ceiling fans have the exact same problem. They work when you put them there, but then all of a sudden they stop. Now, I don't know, at first I thought, okay, maybe it's reloading the cells. Well, that's not the case, because I have not left this cell. So I'm thinking that for some reason, lamps, let's double check, probably shouldn't move anything, but I'm not moving it, I just want to make sure there's no duplicates, and there's not. So that I am completely unsure. I have no clue as to why that is. So that might be something they need to take a look at. Not, you know, that might be something I might post in transfer settlements or something. I'll have to get some type of documentation together and throw it that way. But there seems to be a common problem And I don't know, like I say, because I use transfer settlements, I don't know if it's a, because I know if I would have placed the lamp, it would have been on. However, when I do place lamps and I place fans and I come back, those fans are not working anymore. So there is a problem with the cell load. There's a problem in that load where things are not being initialized completely. I know I've read where things are not loading at all, but I think that things are just not being initialized, and I'm beginning to, like I said, I tend to lean towards the it being a thread issue, to where they're trying to do too much and there's an arbitration issue between the threads. The Havoc threads are adding, you know, like let's say you add something to Havoc, but it doesn't have Havoc yet, and you added a bunch more stuff before Havoc can pick up the fact you've added it, it's going to fall through the table. So the table's going to need Havoc. What you put on the table is going to need Havoc. So if the object gets there before the table, or if the table's Havoc doesn't load before the object's going to fall, because once it loads, it falls. I don't know if there is a if there should be a top-down preference to Havoc or a bottom-up. That's the good question, because you need a foundation for things to sit. So maybe from the bottom up, instead of a top down, it's going to go from the bottom up. You take the lowest most object, add Havoc to that, and then move up. And I'm guessing they must be adding Havoc using something like object type. Maybe it's object type. Maybe they want to have an object that has physics. Like, let's say the foundations first, then walls, then roofs. Maybe that's the way they approach it. I'm not sure. So what we're going to do is, let's see if we can, I think there's some super mutants up here. Let's see if we can kite these guys in without me getting killed. I think I still have TGM on. They are gone. So there was some super mutants here, because that's why I went around the back way. I actually walked around that side of the lake because they were here. I don't see them now. I guess the game must, I guess somehow they must have randomly disappeared. I definitely did not shoot them. Yeah, no, I didn't. I killed a super mutant someplace, but it wasn't here. Alright, well, anyways, those are my thoughts on that. I'm going to go ahead and keep playing around here, and I'll drop some videos from time to time to see, to kind of show you, you know, like what I'm doing, and to see maybe if it's the issues that I'm having. I did forget to post a load order. I'm going to go ahead and put that in this next, when I upload this video and I link it, I'm going to go ahead and put the load order in that as well, along with the papyrus log detail. So let me do that real quick before it rolls out. Alrighty, hope that helps trying to debug some of this, because my guess is somehow there's a bug somewhere, and the scripting is massive. I know SS2 scripting is massive, and it's been my experience that if there's one little thing that's off, that's in the foundation, or in somewhere buried in the foundation of how things correlate to each other or how they work together, then it's gonna cause an issue that it's an issue that doesn't define itself. So when you try to figure it out, it's like, wait a minute, this makes no sense, this shouldn't happen here, but yet it does. Alright, so hope that helps, and good luck, guys. Let me know if there's anything you need.